So there's a lot of new functionality in the latest version of Whitson Plus. The probably the most asked for new functionality is what we see here down to the left, called nodal analysis. If we take a well that has some calculations for this, what the nodal analysis allows you to do is to calculate so-called VLPs and also Vogel IPRs. And in addition to that, you can compare different wellbore configurations and how that essentially changes your VLP curves on the plot here to the right. We've developed this together with many of you, and I'm sure there will be plenty of feedback on this functionality when we get some more usage of it. So this is kind of the 1.0 version of the feature, but it is integrated fully with the bottom hole pressure calculation. And if you need an average reservoir pressure estimate, you can also get that from the flow material balance. So that is integrated in the feature. The second item is the chow pressure group, which just requires some pressures and time series data for a monitoring well. And once you have that, you can go to analytical RTA under CPG here at the top, and that launches the CPG dashboard. The only thing you need to do is to take this line right here, fit a so-called POP trend. POP just means put on production, so this line right here is easy to drag back and forth, and it essentially dictates at what point the offset well is put on production. Then the difference between essentially this trend right here and the forecast right here is used to calculate delta P's and the derivatives, the log derivatives of delta P. And the combination of those two guys is what is used to calculate these CPG values. And when that CPG value is stabilized, that's what you're going to use to quantify your interference between wells. And if the number is close to 1, it's a lot of interference. Typically 0.5 to 0.8 means moderate interference. And when you get in the range lower than 0.5, you're typically talking about a weak interference. And of course, 0 will be no interference between the wells. The other thing we've spent a lot of time on in this the last couple of months is the upgrade of the DCA feature. So feedback that we've gotten from a lot of you is to enhance how the manual fit in the DCA feature works. Of course, right now, all the old functionality related to auto fitting that is really popular still works very well, but being able to drag and drop these points more dynamically on the plot was something that many of you asked for. So that's why we have this new component right here that is available for both single and multi-well DCA. One thing to emphasize though is that this feature is another component. So if you'd like to change the zoom of the plot, you need to work with these with this little box here at the top right. But it allows you to easily zoom the plot and then easily change the fit manually if you like to do that. There is also an lasso fit optionality here at the top, which kind of brings back the old interface, and you can literally just lasso over some points that you like to fit through if you'd like to do that. Of course, you can do all the changes directly here to the left as well. What you'll also see is that we have now multi-segment functionality if you'd like to add more than one segment, and I'm sure there will be plenty of updates in the next months on this to even enhance this functionality even more. And that goes not only for the DCA but also the type well feature. So for those of you who use the type well feature, the DCA part of the type well feature is also using that DCA component right here. Okay, so it's the same as in the single well DCA, which is nice. Another thing that we have been awaited by many of you for some time is the grouping and filtering. So if you go into a project right here, you can actually group different wells together. So let's say I would like to take these 3 wells right here, and I would like to group them under a company-wide group called PAD 2. Then I can go ahead and do that, and then now I have that as a group. If I want to, I can go in and then filter on this particular group, and that's the only thing that will show in my well list right here. If I go into a particular feature, I can also say that this well list at the top here should not include all the wells, but just a subset of the wells, all the wells in group 2, for instance. So right now, if I filter on group 2, the only wells that will be in this group will be the wells in this particular group at the top. And I need to include the all filter again if I'd like to see all of the wells. Back into this interface right here. It's not only grouping that's nice, but you can also take the grouping and do that in the GIS if you want to do that as well. So just go into the GIS map here, and you can do the grouping, and not by clicking and selecting, but you can do that up to the right here in the so-called map version of the plot. On the filtering, you can also filter based on reservoir parameters. So you can use this condition right here and say, okay, I would like to filter on porosity or reservoir temperature or number of fractures or whatever. So if you would like to only see wells on the list that has a reservoir pressure higher than 8,000 psi, or let's say 7,000 for that matter, then you can click save, and the software goes in and filters for the wells with that condition. And if you want to change it, obviously you can do that. So that's another nice thing, that you can filter on a particular condition and not necessarily only on a group. Okay. The one thing that I'm sure many of you will see is that in the interface in production data, where you change or edit the production data, you'll see that that is slightly different now. The only thing we've done is to make it actually easier for you, meaning that if you're uploading stock tank rates, you'll only see stock tank rates here. And if you upload separator rates, you have to double click here. You'll only see separator rates here in the front end. So you'll be required to input the separator rates, and separator conditions before you click save. And when you click save, if you upload the separator rates, you'll be forced to actually launch the common process conversion script, which means that you're converting those separator rates down to stock tank before you do any type of analysis. So all of these features that some of you saw was down here to the left before, the production data diagnostics, they're actually moved and is now part of the production data itself. One of the other things we've spent a lot of time on is the ability to update our diagnostic plot feature. In this interface, we've updated a few different things. Probably one of the biggest ones is the ability to easily access wells that's in a project here, turn them on and off depending on the well itself. So in this interface right here, being able to very easily click and navigate through the wells here, and not at the top as it was earlier. There's also now an option to spread the coloring much more easily. You'll know that you can click control. If you're holding control and click the one of the stems, you can change all the different colors of the lines. There is this change color right here, which allows you to spread the colors automatically to different colors, like this. That's nice in case you are plotting the same property for versus time for a wide range of different wells. You want to be able to easily distinguish them in the legend right here. At the top here as well, there's this hide legend option now, so which you can remove the legend if it takes too much space up here. Again, if you click edit here, or if you click control click, you can set the line types and widths and marker types, not for only one of them at a time, but for all of them. So let's say I would like to turn off the line or set the line width for all of them at the same time. I can do that. In this case, let's say I would like to remove the circles and only keep a line, and I want that line to be the same line thickness for all of them. Let's say I would like that to be 3, and then go ahead and click save, and all of these have now been updated. So I've removed the circles, and I've just kept the line right there. We've also added a bunch more default templates here that's available for all the companies, but just remember that you can create whatever template you want, and once you do it, you can make that company-wide or private for you only, or for everyone in your company, and you can reuse those time and time again. So just remember that, and let us know if you'd like to jump on a call for us to show you this. Um, the absolute last thing here is there's been a lot of things for, if I go to one of these that I can edit, there's been a lot of these new properties here that we've been adding to the list of data that could potentially be plotted. So one is, for instance, drawdown, that you can plot drawdown versus time, but also under the normalized rates and pseudopressures, you can do that not only for the oil and gas rates, but now we can do that for water and also total reservoir rates as well. Just remember that if you want to plot this, these have to be calculated first, so you have to have ran these in the analytical RTA feature before you plot them. And that's a few of the new things in the diagnostic plot feature. On the bottom of pressure feature, there's been a few upgrades as well. First and foremost, the engine is upgraded such that on average the speed of the calculations themselves take around 30% less time. less time. It's also easier now to, if you want to edit your water viscosities, you can easily edit that here at the top. And also at the top here, there's this new option called calculation options. And that's been requested by a few of you to make sure that we, at least on days when we don't have required data to do a calculation properly, let's say you have a gas lift setup, but there's no gas lift required, or you have rod pump without any liquid levels, what should you actually do for those days? Should you just calculate it as if it was not any gas lift or rod pump system there, and similarly for ESP. So basically, if you have any of these on or off, if you have them on, still calculate, even though we don't have the required data to make that calculation rigorously. But if you turn it off, the calculation will essentially be blank, such that you're not making interpretations you should not in days when it doesn't make sense. Other than that, there's been a ton of other small upgrades here and there. We've upgraded the numerical RTA interface for dry gases. We have increased the speed of the dry gas flow material balance method. We've been able to dynamically set the infinite acting stem in the numerical RTA workflow. You can now use the water phase in the analytical RTA dashboard right here. So you can change to not only gas, but before you had liquid and total. But now we can also do this for water if you'd like to do that. So it's a lot of more functionality, but at least this video mentioned some of it. And if you have any questions, would like to have a call with one of us to go through the new functionality, let us know, and we'll be happy to help.